8. Charmed. Mrs. Hayes declared that Saturday was errands day and insisted on dragging along Eric and Rudy. It was her notion of family time. Eric knew enough not to complain much. First, they found an Office Max on the never ending strip mall of Sunrise Highway. They walked the aisles until they filled a shopping cart with school supplies. Mrs. Hayes read aloud the list that Rudy's second grade teacher provided. Beside the usual stuff, Rudy's teachers asked each student to bring in an antibacterial soap, a box of cotton balls, and 3 boxes of Kleenex. That's just stupid, Eric commented. Rudy pouted. He didn't think so. His mother threw a box of cotton balls into the cart. Change your attitude, she told Eric. They ate lunch at Frunley's. How come the pictures on the menu look so much better than the real food? Rudy wondered. It's called advertising, Eric told his little brother. They try to trick you into buying the frozen clams casino. You'd be better off sucking on the menu. Rudy laughed. Oh, Eric, please, his mother scolded. What? Eric demanded. I'm just teaching him about you're being obnoxious, his mother snapped. I don't know what's the matter with you today. You're so grumpy and rude. Is this the way it's going to be now that you're a teenager? I don't know if I can take your mood swings. Thankfully, Rudy spilled his fribble, and that took the heat off Eric. Can we go home now? He asked. No, we still have to go food shopping. Eric grumbled. Rudy begged for Captain Crunch and raspberry fruit roll-ups. The twerp actually liked supermarkets. The shopping only took forever, what with his mother squeezing and sniffing every melon in the produce section. On their way out of the supermarket, Eric ran into Griffin Connolly, or to be more accurate, almost ran into him, with his shopping cart. Eric was pushing the overloaded, squeaky-wheeled contraption, with his mother and brother chattering along behind, when he nearly crashed into Griffin. He was standing just outside the exit doors, dressed in jeans and a white t-shirt, hands shoved deep in his pockets and leaning with one foot against the brick wall. Griffin was looking away, and for a moment Eric hoped they'd escaped unnoticed. He didn't want to be seen here, not with his mother. But when Griffin glimpsed Eric, he popped off the wall and smiled like he had just won a race. Eric! He exclaimed. Oh, hi, Eric said. He gave a subtle wave, lifting a few fingers off the cart handle, real low-key. Griffin extended his hand to Mrs. Hayes. You must be Eric's mother. My name is Griffin Connolly. I go to school with Eric. We sit together at lunch. Well, I'm pleased to meet you, Mrs. Hayes purred. And it was perfectly true. She was actually pleased. Griffin was a good-looking kid, confident and self-assured. He had nice manners and an undeniable charm. Is this your little brother? Griffin asked, tussling Rudy's hair. I'm not so little, Rudy retorted, pushing away Griffin's hand. Yow, fierce, Griffin joked, looking from Rudy to Eric to Mrs. Hayes. He was flashing the full 32-tooth smile, with his pearly whites gleaming like a toothpaste commercial. Eric stood and watched vaguely uneasy. Are you here with your parents? Mrs. Hayes inquired. No, Griffin answered. He looked around, dipped his head, and confessed. It's kind of embarrassing, actually. The truth is, this is sort of what I do every Saturday. Not too exciting, huh? I come here to help old people with their packages. They know I'll be here. Eric's mother was charmed. Why, that's wonderful. Griffin smiled beautifully. It's hard for old people, he continued. I think of it my own grandmother and how tough it is for her to get around. I think that, if I help an old lady here, maybe somebody will be nice to my Grammy. She lives upstate. Eric watched his mother's reaction, half expecting her to adopt Griffin on the spot. It was as if he had sprouted wings and now floated on a white puffy cloud. The only thing missing were the harp and the halo. Griffin Connolly, angel on earth. Still, Eric had to hand it to Griff. He was a smooth operator. Sometimes I get tips, Griffin confided. He imitated an old woman leaning on an imaginary cane. He held out his trembling hand and warbled in a cracky voice. This quarter's for you, young man. Don't spend it all in one place. Rudy laughed, eyes twinkling. Aw, that's sweet, Mrs. Hayes cooed. Eric shifted on his feet. He was totally ready for this little chit chat to conclude. Hey, Eric, you should stay and hang out if you want, Griffin offered. No, Eric stammered. He jerked a thumb toward the parking lot. My mom, we have to. I think that's a wonderful idea, Mrs. Hayes chimed in. She was delighted to see that Eric made a new friend. Such a nice boy. It's no problem, she said. I'll bring the packages home with Rudy. We'll be fine. You can call us when you're ready to be picked up. She finished into her bag. Here, I'll let you borrow my cell phone. Are you sure that? Griffin put an arm around Eric's shoulders and squeezed. Thanks, Mrs. Hayes. We'll see you later. But first, let us help you with those packages.